Hello, this is Jedi Master Daniel 96, and today I'll be reviewing Darth Plagueis by James Luceno. And let's begin. Well, I'd say this was a really good book from start to finish. This is one of the holy Bibles in the expanding universe from the Legends timeline. This is one of the holy Bibles. I would consider this in the top 5. It's probably in my top 5 and top 10 of best expanded universe stories. Hell, I think it's probably my favorite, or one of my favorites, I would say. When I read this book, I was just so invested. There's just a lot of good, interesting stuff. The beginning, you get to see, Plagueis with his master Darth Tenebris, and then Darth Tenebris gets killed, and then you get to the midway point until we get, to the bit with Plagueis, when Darth Plagueis meets Palpatine on Naboo, and Palpatine is from the planet of Naboo, and I did really learn that Palpatine was from Naboo for years ago from playing the original Star Wars Battlefront game. The 2005 Battlefront 2 mentions that Palpatine is from Naboo, which I already knew that by when I read the book, from playing the original Battlefront 2, years ago. And all I gotta say, it really puts a lot of things from the prequels in motion. You get to see how Palpatine rose to power, and there's a lot of good connectivity with with other EU works. You get to see about Darth Bane, Exar Kun. There's even a reference to Darth Maul's Shadowhunter with Lauren Pavin, and you get references of the Black Sun, which is the Falleen species, which is, Prince Shizor's species from Shadows of the Empire. And then you had that comic where Darth Maul had to destabilize Black Sun. So that's, referenced in here. And also, you get the Night Sisters from the Clone Wars. And for those who don't know, this confuses a lot of newer fans that the 2008 Clone Wars show is part of both the Legends timeline and Disney's new canon. And I know it's a pretty divided thing in the EU community, and like it or not, TCW is part of the Legends timeline, and I like both the expanded universe, and I am an EU fan and a big fan of the Clone Wars TV show. And so I digress there, and yes, the Night Sisters are mentioned in this book, and also, they go with the Darth Maul retcon with him being a Dathomirian Night Brother, and there's just a lot of good stuff in this book, and then you get a lot of things in the, you even get to see a glimpse of Count Dooku and Qui-Gon in this book, because this is, set before the events of the Phantom Menace, and you also get to hear about Master Sifo Dyas and the clones, which, as you know, from episode 2, and there are bits where it will start, far before episode 1, maybe about 20 to 30, maybe about 20 to 30 years before episode 1, and then near the end of the book, you kind of lean closer to the events of the Phantom Menace, and you get all that stuff, and, there's references, they mention about Anakin in the book, and then about him winning the pod race and stuff, and then it really puts a lot of things, I'd say even if you're a fan of the prequels, go read this book. Even if you don't like the prequels, still go read this book. This will really give you a lot of depth. I don't think the prequels are that bad as what people claim them to be. I mean, they are good, and then and like this book will really help a lot of things with the prequels. This will get a lot of good of the political aspects and show you how Palpatine rose to power. And I say James Luceno delivers. And even this was his last book that he wrote for the expanded universe, because this was I think this was like written in like I think 2011 or 2012. I think this book came out. It was like somewhere around there. I think it was about a year or not that far before the Disney buyout happened. Like this was released, not before Disney bought Star Wars, and the book, because I know the book Tarkin was gonna be originally gonna be part of the expanded universe before the whole reboot happened, and I think this was made about 2 or 3 years before they declared the expanded universe non-canon, and then made the reboot announcement in 2014. And also, I did a fact on this video that James Luceno met with George Lucas on earlier stages, and and I said about that George Lucas told the author James Luceno that Darth Plagueis could be a Mun in this book, and you can also check that video out, and not making it up, and it's a true fact. And I'd say it's really worth your time, this book, and I'd say go check it out. I mean, man, there's just a lot I could really say about this book, man. I mean, I didn't want to go too much into spoilers, just wanted to give you a basic rundown on what to expect by reading this book. And to any Star Wars fan, if I would even introduce, this would be one of my recommendations for a newcomer to the expanded universe, like maybe like someone that was that follows the new canon, that only follows the new canon, maybe wants to get into the expanded universe. I'd say definitely go for this book, even if you're just someone who've just seen the movies and want to get into Star Wars books. This is a good starting point right here, and this is one of the books that you should pick up when you starting to get into Star Wars books. And I definitely give this book a 2 thumbs way up to the heavens, and definitely a 10 out of 10 from me. And all I can say, go read it, man. You'll love it. Just read this masterpiece, and that's all I gotta say. Don't forget to like this video and comment what you thought of the book down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and see ya.